You in here? Disco Davy D? I'm waiting for the homie to connect. So just give us a minute and we'll put the thing together. We're going to do an interview for Uptown Radio in Philly. So just hold tight. How you guys doing, by the way? Mike,
What's going on, Andy?
what's up, bro?
Not much. How you doing today?
Yeah, it's beautiful out here. It's nice outside. It's a good day today.
I believe that's a little warm. Had to put the AC on. But yes.
It's a good thing to be able to put the AC on, man.
Absolutely. Uptown Radio WJYN 98.5 FM. We're here today with India. India is putting together a documentary about the historic AM radio station out of Childborn, North Carolina, WVOE AM 1590. And I guess you want to discuss the history today.
We can, sure. We can do that. That's one of the things we can talk about, sure. Yeah, WVOE is the first all African American owned radio station. So the documentary mainly is going to be about minority ownership. That's going to be a big deal in regards to this particular film. Right now, we're doing we're beginning a fundraising campaign. So we'll actually really get started in the next week or two.
Okay.
So yeah, WVOE, The Voice of Ebony. That's the film that we're gonna put a lot of emphasis on for the remainder of the year. Yeah.
What's your connection to the radio station down there, the AM radio station?
Well, I came across that particular radio station coincidentally. I took a trip down to North Carolina and pretty much discovered their existence. I was at a family event, and I seen them online. I knew that they existed, and I asked somebody about it, and I didn't know that this was going to happen, but they brought me there. I filmed the experience just because, I didn't know what was going to happen, and I guess three months later, 6 months later, something like that, somebody out in North Carolina put the piece that I put together. I put together like a 7-minute piece. They put it online on their Facebook. And then people started calling me and asking me about it. So, I wasn't really going to do a film about that particular piece. But when that happened, I was kind of like, all right, well, maybe there's something there. And when I started to realize like the historical aspect, and I met Fly Ty. Do you know Fly Ty from Coachillin Records?
I'm familiar with the name. I don't know.
Yeah, Fly Ty is like an old school producer kind of dude, and I had a conversation with him, and it just kind of like prompted me to do it. I just, sometimes things feel right. Sometimes a thing will feel right. It'll feel like the thing to do, and I wanted to do another film outside of the first film was Versatility 3, Rewind. And it's been a while. So, it's good to have another project. It's good to have another piece. And I think that this is going to be a good one. And it feels timely also. So
So I was able to find an article online about it, really well put together. You probably seen the article from Radio and Television Business Report.
Okay.
I searched because what I did, I searched WVOE 1590, and this article came up, and it has a lot of great information. I'll send it to you
Yeah.
just to get you refamiliated. But it has, it's pretty much what you were talking about. But that's where I was able to just get my research on the place, because they said they were near the shore, and it's in a small town, right?
Yeah.
So they said they were responsible for the Carolina beach music, which is a subgenre down there.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
One of
You
the
know?
one of the big things. Well, there's two things to that. One, I have a researcher, so I'm hiring a particular fellow that there's all kinds of great information about the station, about that genre. The WVOE got started in the '60s, and right out of the civil rights movement.
Mm-hmm.
So they got started. So think about this. WVOE got started when Martin Luther King was alive, when Elvis was around, John F. Kennedy was alive, and then suddenly they were not.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been around for a long time. So there's a lot that they did, but then another thing to think about with WVOE is they're close to Myrtle Beach. So a lot of people come to North Carolina, pass through the town, and they head out to Myrtle Beach. So that's where the beach music thing comes from, because it's a community thing. You know, it's I don't think they tried to do that. I think that was just coincidental, but great at the same time. So yeah.
Now, the article makes it seem like they've been hanging on by a thread. I don't know if currently, but for a period they were hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so how do you have a business stay around for 60 years? You know, their ownership is Ebony Enterprises, and one of the things that I had a conversation with a friend about is, like, take for instance, there's radio stations in New York. The Brooklyn borough president here in Brooklyn, in New York, had a big thing with Andrew Cuomo and Bill de Blasio and whoever are in charge of those councils. Because when we had COVID-19, the state of New York gave money to radio stations in order to put the word out about COVID, and they do that, you know. And the Brooklyn borough president, his name is Eric. I don't remember his last name, but you know, he had a big complaint because he said that money never trickled down to the minority-owned radio stations. And when you say that minorities, you know, we've all seen it in the news that minorities are more affected by COVID than other groups. You know, well, that makes sense. We're not getting the word out. Everyone else is getting money to facilitate some sort of advertisement or some sort of campaign to say, hey, be careful, stay at home, blah, blah, blah. We got to do it ourselves. That's been happening to WVOE since its existence. So when you say hanging on by a thread, yeah, there was some lean years. That's how they explained it to me. We have some lean years because, you know, the business is not right in that genre of business platform. So we're hoping that we can shed light, you know, on that type of thing, so that not only WVOE but the WVOEs of the world can actually be competitive you know, not have so many lean years and just normalize financially. You know, there's another thing, you know, doing a documentary, a lot of the fun of doing the documentary is like in the research. There are 15,330 radio stations. 15,330. And there is less than 50 minority owned. So that's much, much less
Less than
than
50 or
1%.
30?
50, less than
50.
50, less than 50. It could. I try to not say 30 because then it gets really depressing. But you know, somewhere between that 30 and 50 range, yeah. So you know, but the other thing about WVOE is, you know, you only need to really be in existence for a certain amount of time, maybe like 30 years, to be like a national like landmark, like a state landmark. So not only are we doing a documentary on WVOE, but you know we're trying to help them in a lot of ways. Kind of expect a lot to come out of this project. You know, not just the film, but a great film. You know.
Yeah, got my interest. You know, Uptown Radio is minority owned. About that COVID stuff, our department, our board, because we're a nonprofit radio, so
Yeah.
we have a board that oversees Uptown Radio and the historic Uptown Theater. They were able to get there, and we all they also had some lean years. The Uptown Radio. Uh, things are picking up a little bit of speed now, but that's just an infusion of new local talent, and maybe that's with WOVE is just an infusion of new local talent, and people have to be reminded that you know there's a lot of power in radio, and there's a lot of it's a great platform for everybody across the board, voices to be heard. Carolina beach music, maybe that was the only way for that sound to get out of the, you know, wherever those guys were set up and playing. Like they might have only set up and played at the local watering hole, but now you got since it was heavily gospel, now everybody that tunes in for the gospel is also getting exposed to, you know, the music, and that's how, you know, that's how stuff spreads. So yeah, Uptown Radio, we're interested very much so. Like I said, with all this stuff that's been happening, I haven't been able to properly present your project to the board because I think they'll be very excited.
Well, we're setting up a whole campaign. There's a particular piece of paperwork that I'm waiting for to really get started. And what we're going to do, we kind of have a multi-pronged attack. We're waiting for some grants. One of them being with Wake Forest and MacArthur Foundation. I think we're going to get that one. And while we're waiting for grants, we're going to do a crowdfunding thing. And that's going to get started in the next week or two. And once we get into that space, we want to really use North Carolina as the springboard to really start getting the message out that we're active, we're crowdfunding, we're trying to make it happen here. And then after that, we're going to be looking for all the help that we can get. So right now we're kind of in a setup stage. And I think in the next month, then we're really going to be like, all right, so, you know, like super active and pushing. And I think it'll be noticeable. You know, I think it'll be noticeable. I think once we really start pushing, we have WVOE, it's an active radio station. There's 5 surrounding radio stations in the area in North Carolina that we have the full support of. The local CBS television station, they kind of love us. And so that's going to be our launch pad. And we're just going to get the word out. We'll do a crowdfunding thing, and then we'll just go from there, and we'll see what opportunities take us from there. And once we actually raise the funds that we need, we're going to be visiting everyone, you know. Uptown, hopefully too. You know, I'm interested in that story. You know,
Yeah,
it's
that's.
so.
I wanted to invite you. We're doing a on June 20th, which is 10 days from today. It's a Saturday. We're having a radiothon. We're also having a small awards presentation for the Uptown Theater and the Uptown Radio. And if you wanted to come and just pretty much network and talk with there's going to be a lot of local radio people there that
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
So that'd be a good opportunity if you wanted to come down into the city and network. And then you'll be able to personally meet our board, like
Okay.
the people that run the station. And they're pretty legit. They've been very active in the community for a long time, so they're good people to talk to.
So this is June 20th.
Yes,
All right. I wrote it down.
it'll be at the Uptown Theater. Uptown Theater is located um, North Broad Street, north of Temple campus on Susquehanna. It's at 2231 North Broad. But yeah, we'll be out there. It'll be an all-day thing from 3 to 9 p.m. and be a good opportunity if you want to network.
That sounds about right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, the WVOE project is a fun project. I think that I think people are going to learn something from it. I think that I'm going to be able to pull something nice out of the characters in it. And, you know, just one of the ways that we're going to do the film is I'm going to bake in some kind of like segue moments where in between the storyline, I'm going to introduce other businesses and other concepts. You know, you could take it like small commercials, but they're not going to be commercials because they're going to be very informative and educational. Like one of the things that, you know, I know a guy, he's doing arts, food and arts. It's kind of like a healthy thing, but he makes it fun somehow. And I enjoyed his pitch. You know, I'm not 100%, you know, I want to hear more, but that's the thing. That's the research part. You know, I want to hear more. But the way that he's doing it is, you know, he's putting exercise, eating, you know, food and art together in an interesting way. So, you know, I might have like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minute segue moment during the film just to introduce someone that's doing another like first of its kind of like cool thing that they're doing, you know, or, you know, visiting other radio stations or different things. So, you know, we're going to have like segue moments. So although the main topic is going to be WVOE, I'm going to be introducing some other things, especially the healthy eating part. You know, I'm trying to figure out the exact perfect way. You know, I like this particular guy's pitch, but, you know, I feel like healthy eating it's just important that you tell people, you know, it's important that you make it fun and realistic for people, you know, especially in the South. I feel like being in, you know, I'm a New York City guy. Like I love hanging out in New York City when you can't hang out or whatever. So there's so many like trendy places that you can, you know, go get a kale smoothie from or something crazy. They don't have stuff like that down in the in the Carolinas or whatever. So, you know, I want to try to introduce a New York spirit to healthy eating to kind of like that down south crowd. I don't, you know, through the film. So we'll see. It's so much fun stuff, you know.
Yeah, it sounds very educational. When you finally get the project together, is this something that you're going to like tour through schools?
That's the goal. That's the goal. When I write these grants, you know, they ask and they say, why should we give you money? And I say, at Ivy League colleges, you can go and take a class like on Rihanna or Beyonce or Tupac. Like
Right.
you can take that class as a, you know, whatever for the semester and get college credits for it. I'm not saying you should take a whole class in WVOE, but what I am saying is we should be somehow part of that curriculum. So that's, you know, I'm aiming in that particular direction, and anything that trickles down, you know, that's an Ivy League college. I'm talking about like Harvard, you know. So any other schools and colleges, it's mainly going to be about the opportunities, public access and things of that nature. But definitely, like, we want to try to make it part of the curriculum, because the first all African American owned radio station, you know, like, we feel like that's pretty important. We want to make it part of the curriculum, just to be able to say that there's this business that's been around, it's still around. And then you got to ask the question, why? How? Like, how is that possible? Like, how did they even manage to make it through a lean year or a good year? Like, how are they still in existence? You know? And I'm coming to learn to know how, but I think that other people should get an understanding of what does it take to be a minority-owned business for 50 plus years, 60 years? How do you stay in business? You know, how do you stay around? How do you stay relevant? If beach music was a thing, when was that a thing? Was it a long time ago? Because they're still having program. We're talking to each other. They have a program live on air right now. You know, so one of the things that I'm looking forward to doing is more stuff like this. I think that I'm gonna go down and do a live, maybe a Facebook live. I'm not sure, Instagram. I'm not sure, and just do a live for the week, or with all of their hosts, just so people can hear exactly what their show is. You know, for me, it's part of the research, because I'm going to be recording it. So when I sit down to myself, you know, I'm kind of like looking at the people and the hosts and trying to figure out what I can do for the final result on the big screen, to be able to say, all right, you know, this is how I bring these characters to life. So it's a research thing. But for the public, they do gospel music and they do soul music.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I'm super interested in hearing their soul segment, but yeah, I think we're gonna put that live and give people an opportunity to hear what WVOE is about, and yeah, it's fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it definitely is a project that could have some legs on it. I have a professor of Temple that also teaches a hip hop curriculum course that might
Yeah,
be
see,
interested to speak with you.
yeah, see, that's what I mean. I'm interested in how, because you know they do a syllabus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in how to get on somebody's syllabus. You know, it's I'll be honest with you, there's always a weird look. You know, if you grew up in hip hop culture, then it's just kind of like, you know, we're everywhere. Of course they're in college. Of course there's a course, you know what I mean? But for other people, it's like, how? It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, are you for real? You know, so I'm interested in those experiences. I would like to ask that particular fella how he deals with that. You know, people that are not part of the culture whatsoever, and him saying, I'm a professor, I do a hip hop course. What kind of reactions do you get from people? So yeah, I would love that conversation. You
All right,
know,
his name is Timothy Welbeck. I'll link you guys afterwards.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now,
So
what number document or what number video project is this for you?
so overall, I'm probably, I don't really include like YouTube videos or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
digital projects in that space. You know, I mean, you know, I worked for Screen Gems for a number of years, you know. So I'm talking about like Dave Matthews Band, um, Kmart, Pathfinder, Taster's Choice, Coca-Cola. I'm probably like 30, 40 projects in, you know. Um, Versatility Rewind. I've done assistant directing with I worked with Diane Martell, Chris Robinson, um, but you know, Versatility 3 Rewind was the first project that I just directed on my own, and WVOE will be the first project, the second project that I directed 100% on my own. So directing is a whole nother ball game because you know now you're the quarterback. It's different when you're the wide receiver or something. You know what I mean? You gotta, you know, don't drop the ball or some other thing. But you know, quarterbacking is a different kind of thing. So these would be my early projects where I'm just doing it myself, having the confidence, feeling like I know what I'm doing, and I'm 1,000% certain that it's going to work out in some kind of way. And then I still enjoy, even though I'm 30, 40 projects in, you know, I still enjoy feeling like a new director, you know, because I tell people, you know, you didn't hear about Samuel L. Jackson, until he was like 20, 25 projects in. How many projects does Samuel L. Jackson have before you even heard of him? Everyone's heard of him at this point. At this point, he's a joke. He's in every movie that's ever been made. You know, that's kind of the sideline joke. But in reality, you know, he's made, you know, 100, 200 films. So I feel like a new director, you know, going in the direction of something that I really enjoy. I'm actually looking past WVOE and trying to figure out, you know, it boils down to budgets, but you know, budgets for other projects. You know what I mean? Like I think I can do this. I'm enjoying it.
Now you said with the grants coming in, waiting for that. So what do you think is a proposed timeline for like a release?
I'm aiming for spring 2021. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm aiming for spring 2021. I want to wrap everything. I want to spend the time I need to spend putting everything together, principal photography, editing. Editing should take 1 to 3 months. That's going to put us into the winter time, and we would be dependent on platform. You know, I don't think that we need to do an independent release. I think that we can go to a sizable platform. We work with, I have a fiscal, we had, for this particular project, we have a fiscal sponsorship with the Harlem Film House, the National Black Theater in Harlem. And since they got started recently, quite I don't know, 3 or 4 of their films went to Netflix. And they really love this particular project. They're really behind it. So I'm not saying that we would go to Netflix. We actually have a 1:30 today about distribution and where we would go, because apparently Netflix, people always want to go to Netflix. They think that's a big deal, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes your film gets buried, and we need visibility. Like, we need to be in college curriculums, so we wouldn't want to go somewhere on a platform just to get buried by blockbuster films. We need like visibility. So, but I think we'll get to a sizable platform. So if it wasn't spring 2021, it would be because we're selecting a platform that they have their opinion, you know, of what we should do. That happens. So in my mind, spring 2021, we'll see what the business decides.
Hey, that's a good sound. Sounds like a good timeline.
Yeah. I mean, I like to kind of figure out how to, like, as we work with grants, I want to figure out how to get grants for more film projects, and not just film projects, but other projects as well. I do a lot of stuff. I'm a director. I'm a a book author, and a musician. So, so I do a lot of stuff. But right now, I'm a managing member of Novelty Soundbytes. That's my company. And my goal is to have enough projects on the board where I can start really hiring people and paying some good salaries to people, and then really just getting a whole business off the ground. You know, maybe WVOE is my launch pad project that'll bring me to where I want to be. But the end goal is going to be to pay salaries, keep people employed, doing what they love. I have so many friends. Mike, tell me, do you have friends like this? I have so many friends that have so much talent, but their job is different from what their talent is. Do you know people like that? That
Yeah.
you know that they're incredible at something, but that's not where their meat and potatoes is.
Right.
You know, so I'm trying to get something off the ground to the point where I can, you know, help friends, family, people that are in, you know, just that talented space that all you need is a salary. All the person needs to know is for the next 12 months that they're going to make X amount of money, and then also that your business is not going to go out of business. So I'm running Novelty Soundbytes. You know, WVOE is just one project. I'm just trying to figure out how to keep it going. You know, but the grants thing is working out, and we're 2 for 2 right now. And then I have a board of because you know the grants teams, they make their announcements, and I just had a meeting last week on Friday with Wake Forest, MacArthur Foundation, and one of the things that they love is if they give you grant money, which is great, but they also give you access to their logo to be able to say that we've gotten the approval of the MacArthur Foundation. So when other grantors take a look at that, that's a big deal. And when colleges take a look at that, that's a big deal. It's just kind of like a snowball turning into an avalanche.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we really kind of got our fingers crossed. I don't see a reason for them to say no to us, but obviously it's to be continued. I probably shouldn't even brought that up, but, you know, we have a couple of people. It's me and you and a couple of people on Instagram Live, so I feel like it's not like I told the world. I told friends.
Yeah, you're good. Thank you so much for speaking with us today. Is there anything you need a 30-second just video clip from me?
That would be dope. Yeah, that would be dope. Something to just say, you know, who you are and why you think WVOE would be important. I kind of like to, a lot of the people that's already given 30-second clips are, you know, they have their own reasons for why they feel like it's important. I try to hint it towards the minority ownership side as opposed to just WVOE, but everyone has their opinion. We have the regional director for the tri-state area of all of the hospitals in the tri-state. So he's given his 30-second clip. We have one of the top comedians in New York City, Rob from Who Bag. We got Rob. Had to get an IG model because you know how that goes, you know, the visibility. Quite a few people chimed in. I'm trying to get the Brooklyn borough president. We're going to be approaching the mayor of Wilmington in North Carolina. Everyone's just handing their clips in, and what we're doing with them is when we start our crowdfunding thing, it'll be one of the first videos that people get a chance to see. This collage of 30-second clips to say that, you know, we feel like this is important. You know, if you feel like this is important as a viewer, whoever that person may be, you know, give us a helping hand. And you guys are the proof. You guys are the credibility that it's an important project for someone else to feel maybe they want to participate in and give us a helping hand. And then, you know, I'm going to put together a platform to say exactly how people can give a helping hand. So that's coming in the next like week or two, you know, 3 at the most. So yeah, a 30-second clip just of who you are. And the question is, do you think the first all African American owned radio station is important? You know, and I try to let people know that this is one project, but it's one that we need to get off the ground. It's timely. And if you look at the current environment in America, you know, timely is a big word. You know, that's a big word. So we think that the goal always was to make this particular topic an important topic. Just the fact of ownership in radio. Because you know how radio is, you know how entertainment is. If you want to take it all the way to the other side, Hollywood, you know, minority representation is usually based on talent. It's very rarely based on ownership. And you can name only a handful of minority owners. And it's because there are not a lot, you know, and it's not restricted to African American, but Latino, Indian, from India. You know, they have a movement in India. It's a hip hop movement, and it's credible. It's not whack. You know, people make it seem like there's, you know, African American and Caucasian in the end, but that's not the case. You know, me myself, I'm Native American. You see what I'm saying? So it's just basically minority ownership as what you see on TV, the representation like nowadays, and they're protesting in the streets because they're basically saying we're in, you know, we're here, we're part of everything, but you know, obviously it's still skewed. Let's just even that out a little bit. You know, let's just even that. It's you know, everyone, we're all participating effectively. You know, minority businesses, you know, are creating billionaires. You know, but there's more work that needs to be done. So let's even that out. Let's just, you know, so that's what the people in the streets are saying right now. It's just, let's just even that out. You know, so I think that's a good message, and that's why I think that this particular project is super relevant, you know, super timely, you know, and I'm trying to get a business going. I'm trying to, you know, keep Novelty Soundbytes employing other people. I feel like what I end up doing is I write checks to people for helping me with my projects, and then when the project is over, they go away. So I'm trying to keep my talent. I'm trying to keep my people inside, you know. So small business, I love it, you know.
Okay, WJYN 90.5 FM. We're sitting here with Andy of Soundbytes Entertainment. You briefly want to talk about Soundbytes, how people can get in contact with you, and what Soundbytes, what kind of offers Soundbytes is entertaining right now?
Well, because of the difficulty of getting a film funded and completed, all our energy for the remainder of the year is going to go into WVOE. We have music, Ron Valor project, and some other music, and a few products that are out there on Amazon, in a book. The main thing right now is we're gonna, you know, keep all our information on this Instagram. You know, so the way my projects work is a project might really just go out there and do great numbers, and I keep that separate from this particular Instagram that I use here. This particular Instagram is just us. It's just communication for people that want to know what's going on with us, and it's separate from the products and the projects. So the big numbers, the big views, you know, all of the followers, they come from the projects themselves. That's not what this Instagram is for. This Instagram is to communicate that exact question that you just said, to know what's going on, to know what to look for. You know, when I did an article for Business Insider, and somewhere 20, 30,000 views or something like that. I keep that at Business Insider. I don't bring that over here because, you know, I don't want the confusion. I want people to know what's going on. You know, I work with the people that's on my Instagram. People that come to my Instagram, you know, we're working on something, and that's the communication line. So this particular Instagram of Novelty Soundbytes is where you go when you want to reach out to me, when you want to say, hey, what's going on? You know, so that's pretty much, if you want anything Novelty Soundbytes related is on this particular Instagram. You can look through the timeline, you know, and you'll see when I'm more active. When we're more active, we get more views. When we're less active, you know, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, this is the communication piece.
All right, let me. I'm going to have to shut this down.
Yep.
But it was really great speaking with you. Very informative. We're going to connect you with Temple professor.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, for sure.
He's also a lawyer. That's why I just slipped out law, because he's also a lawyer.
Nice.
And June 20th, if you want to come and network with our elders at the Uptown Theater.
Yeah.
They would probably be able to, there should be some historians on deck.
Yeah.
You could also, I think that day we will be, you know, permitted with what we're allowed to do with this COVID stuff. We will be doing tours of the theater. If you want to, you know, maybe walk through the historic Uptown Theater, that's going to be in 10 days. It's a Saturday, 3 p.m. Hopefully we got great weather. So if you want to come out, and if not, I'll just keep in touch with you, and I'll get you that 30-second clip.
Yeah, man, definitely. For the 20th, I probably will shoot down there with Rob from WhoMag, you know, and anybody that's online, if you know, just to clarify, WhoMag is who I distribute my music through. If anybody has any music, you can come to me and we can work something out and make sure that your music is distributed. So WhoMag is a Roku channel. You know, it's just cool hip hop shit. And, you know, this is my friend Mike here from Uptown Philly Records. They're a radio station out in Philly. So this is a really dope thing. I'll probably come to the thing on the 20th with Rob. And thanks for informing me and letting me know and talking to me. And let's just keep it going, man. Here's the thing. When we really get started with WVOE, we're going to have to move. We're going to have to see numbers move. So that's what we're going to be doing. So 3 weeks to a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to a month, we're going to be looking for numbers to move. We're going to be looking for some real crowdfunding things to happen. So this is a nice preliminary step before the real work gets started. So thanks, Mike. Appreciate talking to you.
All right, brother. You have a great day. I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Definitely.
All right, man. Peace.